manipulative. Who are you?
Call the Alan Cox Show. 216-578-1007 or 1-800-348-1007.
$35192. Want to send me a text. AlanCoxShow.com. All the other stuff. Cavs play tonight. They're back here at home, taking on the Miami Heat. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off here on MMS. You can also listen on the iHeartRadio app. Friday night, they will be in Minnesota to play the Timberwolves. They'll go to Miami to play the Heat again on Sunday. And then they will be back here on Monday night, take on the Charlotte Hornets. Just a few weeks away from the end of the regular season, April 14th. They'll do it again. Hornets here at the Romo Fijo for the last regular season game. We will be live from Progressive Field on April the 8th, Eclipse/Guardians home opener. We'll have all those details for you in the weeks to come. But that's essentially how, and basically that's all we know about that day, is that that's where we'll be to do this program for a few hours.
Are you going to be back for that, Mary?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What? No.
Okay.
No, it's me and Bill and Cody on the Guardians opening day.
That was another one where it was like, you want to pay for your own flight home? And I was like, not really. If you guys want to chip in at all, that'd be awesome. But,
right.
You know.
Yeah, so that will be on April the 8th. And we'll figure out, obviously, you know, everybody knows, I think by now that they pushed the start time of the home opener back an hour, so that game won't start until 5:10, I think. But by that time, we'll be a couple hours post-eclipse. So I think they're just, obviously, it's in their best interest to wait for the dust to settle. They have finally signed on. This is only important to Mary, potentially, but since I was just talking about it before the break, New York has a country radio station again.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about that.
They haven't had one in 2.5 years.
I was, bopping around when I'm driving, and I was like, there's no country up here, which I thought was kind of interesting.
No, it doesn't really work in New York. You got to get back out into the sticks. This is technically a Long Island station. There was a station called, there was another radio company that was trying to kind of cookie cutter a country format around the country called Nash. And it was on 94.7 in New York for a while, but it just didn't really fly. Country as a radio format has always had a hard time in New York. But they have signed on 1031 out in Nassau, Suffolk County. So the country radio, 1031 The Wolf, has just signed on this morning out on Long Island. So maybe something to tune into while you're out there. Here's one of their... And that's what it sounds like. The Wolf. And they'll probably play I Got Dirt in My Dirt and Truck in My Truck and a Dog at the Wheel.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. And
maybe I'll be the new program director over there.
Well, anytime it's a different company than
You're not allowed to work
iHeart.
for two radio companies at the same time?
Are you sure? I asked to be added to the New York City email list.
Yeah.
Because, I'm still getting building emails from Cleveland, which I get that, but I need to know about things that are happening here.
Yes.
You know? And
like from the facilities crew and things like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's hey, there's food on floor 5, or hey, we're having a all-staff meeting this day, or
fire alarm on Thursday.
Yes, any of that. And the guy asked me a bunch of questions where he was just like, who are you? What do you do? Who are your bosses? I was like, you don't know any of them. They live in Cleveland. And I was like, this guy fully thinks I don't actually work here.
But also, who was asking you that?
The guy who gives the email permissions, like the head IT guy here.
Right. So not a building guy, an iHeart guy.
An iHeart, he's the iHeart IT.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it shouldn't be a hard explanation. You go, I'm doing work here from another market.
Well,
it's probably confidential information in there, too, though.
I guess.
About what?
If they have, like, a A-list celebrity coming through, and they're like, listen, this entrance is closed off because this person...
She would need to know that.
Right, and that's why I asked to be on the emails. But I'm guessing... It just was a funny response that he was like, I need some verification because you're not a real person.
But why did he think this was an email exchange, not a face-to-face?
No, this was an email exchange.
Right.
And full disclosure, I did this because there was free food today and I missed it.
You don't have an iHeart email?
I do have an
It
iHeart
wasn't
email.
enough.
I'm not.
But everything comes
they're
out
not
of
forwarding it
Cleveland,
to
yeah.
me. I'm on like the all Cleveland email list. I'm not on the New York one.
Right, because they don't know you're there. So
Right.
you wouldn't get stuff to Mary Santora at, yeah.
And I was like, I don't have a boss here. He's
Right.
like, who do you report to? I was like, Rob Anthony in Cleveland. Like, I don't have a boss here.
Right.
And then I was like, am I screwing myself? Like, am I?
No, this, I
You
mean,
know?
this company forgets that there's actual live programming, by the way. This whole company is dealing with people in other markets. I don't know why this guy would want hey, could you bring in a utility bill
Yeah.
and your driver's license?
To confirm your address.
Like, bro, no one's trying to fake working for the company.
Yeah.
IT guys.
Because I thought it was just going to be as simple as like, hey, throw my name on that list.
It should be.
Verification needed.
And so what kind of verification does he need? He needs an email from Rob?
I don't know. I gave
Oh.
him Rob and Keith's name and email, and I was like, if you need, I mean, I'm emailing you from my iHeart email,
Right.
You know. I was like, if you need whatever. What did he say? Here, hold on. I need a little more information, please. What's your title and department, and whom do you report to? You think
Bad
if someone
grammar.
used whom, they would say, to whom do you report?
That's right, yeah. Say, hey,
more-
IT guy, why don't you just do the
Yeah.
information technologies and leave the other stuff to me?
I need to update multiple configurations for this.
Multiple
Sounds very
configurations.
confusing.
It's
Yeah.
not.
That's how he's keeping his job.
Yeah, of
That's-
course.
He's like, oh, this is actually
Different
a lot harder.
configurations.
Meanwhile, it's just tap, tap, tap. There's
Yeah.
the email.
I had a tech guy on the
a
line.
lot of bells and whistles here.
I had a tech guy on the line this morning because something in here wasn't working the way it had been, and he was like, and they got a remote in, and so he's working the cursor and going, I've never seen this before. I'm like, it literally happened last week and the week before that. What do you mean you've never seen this?
Come on.
Yeah, it's not unprecedented.
You have my cell phone number. What are you talking about?
Right. That's why I called you guys, because you're the ones that,
Yeah, well. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
talk about
Well,
something
being
that's never happened before. The United States has fallen out of the top 20 happiest countries for the first time ever. Thanks a lot, Obama.
I think you mean Biden.
They surveyed 140 nations. Now, I was doing my Trump impression.
Oh.
And the U.S. landed in 23rd place. All right, so we're just out of the top 20. Now, we were 15th last year. But 23rd, it's not like we're 139th. Finland is number one for the 7th year in a row. What do you know about Finland that makes people so happy? I mean, they've only got one kind of person there. That probably makes a lot of people happy. And they have a pretty active forest biome. Are you into forest biomes? Does that make you happy? So the United States
They
is
would.
the United States is out of the top 20 happiest countries.
That doesn't surprise me. Nobody's been happy here for 4 years.
I would say for longer than that.
Oh yeah, longer than that. But that's the other half of this coin is how did we stay in the top 20 as long as,
Is this
things
a
are never
yearly
as
survey?
bad as people think they are, and they're never as good as other people think they are. So, yeah, why now? I don't know.
Is this a yearly survey? Is it like a census? Is every 4 years?
A yearly survey. Yeah, because Finland is number one for the 7th year in a row. For those under the age of 30, the happiest country in the world is Lithuania. And for people 60 and older, the happiest country is Denmark.
Oh, not Florida, huh?
No, Florida is not the happiest country in the world.
For old
People over
I
60,
think it would
yeah.
be.
It is kind of its own country, really.
I saw this British guy on viral on TikTok talking about how everyone makes fun of Americans for not being well traveled. And he was like, dude, go to a different state. He's like, each state here is a different country.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, and the two he used as an example were Florida and Seattle. Or Washington.
Yeah.
Washington
It's a
State.
big
where he was
country.
like- well, and that's what he said. He's like, it's huge. He's like, from the UK, I'm a 45-minute train ride from like 7 different countries. And he's like, you can do that in the United States, a couple hours on a plane, and it feels like you're in a different country. He was like, go from Chicago to the middle of Nebraska, those are two different countries.
Just go from Northern California to Southern California.
Go from Cleveland to Lodi.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
That's how I feel when it's like Cleveland and then Cincinnati, like two big major cities in the same state, but two very, very different cultures.
Like when my mom comes up here and goes to the grocery store and she's like waving, like she's like, hi, like waving at everybody because she thinks she has to be overly nice to black people because she doesn't see any ever.
Yeah.
So it's...
Oh, there aren't any out where they live? I don't know. I have black neighbors. I mean, there's people everywhere
Yeah,
now.
but you live in Bay.
Yes.
Yeah, they live.
Well, I don't, but Bay Village is not associated with diversity, but I have Latino and black neighbors. It's like there are people everywhere, so I don't know.
It's not as not
in
Medina.
Medina.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean,
Especially the
Medina's
part
not.
of Medina they live in.
But Medina's not a small town,
No, but it's still
It's not densely populated.
mostly
though, either.
white.
is it?
Yeah.
They're out in the sticks.
I feel like it's gotten less black over the years than it.
Medina used to be really black.
No, I feel like there are just people. I don't think there's a large black community in Medina or even the part of Summit County they're butt up against. It's
Yeah, okay.
country.
I mean, I know that's the stereotype. I
Yeah.
just don't. I didn't know if that was true for that Medina. I don't know.
I just thought that was funny that each state.
Well,
I
and
because the more
it's-
you think about it, there's differing laws state to state.
Yeah, well, they are now, yeah. It's getting a little hinkier to travel, but it's also very striking, to your point about the British guy, it's also very striking to see people online from other countries comment about America. Because, sure, everybody has complaints and compliments about whatever. But it's very striking when you see the difference among people who live here and have grown up here and really do take a lot of what happens here for granted because it's all we've ever known. But you talk to immigrants and you talk to people from other countries who are like, you guys have it really good over here, just that kind of difference in perspective. And so that's why when you meet people, you can tell when people haven't traveled a lot because they have a very myopic view of things, right? And so you don't see a lot of people who have seen a lot of different places thinking one particular way. But people who come over here and travel, not only are they, like you said, not only are they struck by the scope of the United States, but they're like, why is everybody in the U.S. so bummed out? It's like really, cool, and they love visiting. And, I mean, you can have a good time anywhere when you visit. But it is interesting, the different perspectives on it. But according to this, we are no longer one of the top 20 happiest countries.
I was reading one of my figure amounts, and it was from a British author. And I said this on air before, where I was like, there was an entire chapter dedicated to the main character trying to find a gun. And I was like, this
Right.
is overkill. Like, this is, go to the store. And then it, like, halfway through of me being bored.
What, they don't have Walmart?
Right, because I'm like, this would never happen. Like, she had to go visit her relative in jail who had a connection to the Irish mafia.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this would never happen. And then I was like, oh, this might be how people have to get guns in the UK.
Well, but also, when people say, oh, listen, I'm a progressive, but there are people who are like really left wing. I know we have listeners who are like communists and things like that, and that's fine. But when they go, we should be more like Denmark or Finland, I'm like, well, first of all, they don't have 330 million people,
Yeah.
and they all kind of have one kind of person there. These are not diverse countries, right? And also, it's ironic that what goes into a lot of those countries being so happy is they pay a ton of money in taxes. But that takes care of a
everything.
lot of egalitarian, it takes care of a lot of social services that people don't have to freak out about. You're not going to go broke over medical bills.
Yeah.
So there's more of kind of a collective, which is easy to do in a country that is not especially diverse. It's really easy to come to those collective decisions when everybody's Danish or when everybody is from Finland, and those are old countries too. So
What kind of government do they have?
like parliamentary government, I think.
It's not like,
Like cigarettes?
yeah.
No,
Or
you're thinking.
Or like Funkadelic. Okay.
You're thinking of the Lucky Strike government. That's what Germany used to have. No, I think that it's a parliamentary democracy. So
What
it's,
the hell does that mean?
well, it's set up differently than ours. But again,
I
these,
thought Parliament was like monarchy is like kings and queens.
Yeah.
yes,
What the hell is a parliament?
I think it's just like,
multi,
That's a
it's-
government, but not like ours, not like Congress.
it's multiple parties, but like some of these countries have like a prime minister and a president, whereas we just have a guy at the top, and then you have Congress. But they have, like, we have a two-party system. I know that there are always people who run as independents or whatever, but we still are chained to the two-party system as far as influence goes. Parliamentary countries, they'll have, like, moderates and liberals and right-wingers, and, they have multiple parties and people who represent those parties within the government.
I need to look up a chart.
Hey, Marianne.
Yes.
Mary Lynn.
No, Marianne. But I am also kind of from, well, not from Berea, but I'm in Berea now.
Okay.
Oh, good for you.
What's up, Marianne?
I know. It's not great. So, this is a true story. The ex-husband goes to the gas station in Hinckley, actually Granger Township, and he's filling up his motorcycle. Well, another motorcyclist comes. He happens to be black. And the ex-husband goes, "Hey, do you know Ellen?" And he goes, "Yeah, Ellen's my wife." And they started talking a little bit. He goes, "Well, there's only 9 black people in Medina." So
Yeah, okay,
there you
right,
go.
yeah. So, they all know,
Well,
the old joke about they all know each other.
Especially like Granger Township, like out Hinckley,
Right.
Granger. Yeah,
and
it's
that's kind of where you're from, because
Yes.
I believe my kids went to school. Well, I know my daughter went to school with Noel.
Oh yeah, that's my cousin. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know that
Very
area.
white.
Yeah.
Very, very white.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right,
yeah,
well, there
so
you go.
Bill's
Yeah,
story-
I didn't know.
there you go. 9. Count them, 9. Because that's
You can count them on both hands. Wow.
And he was actually Ellen's wife, and whatever. But
But did he invite him over for dinner?
Might be up to like 13 by now, though.
might be,
no.
be. You never know exactly.
Right.
No, well, actually, I saw Ellen quite often, so it was funny. But
All right, thank you,
go.
Marianne.
you're welcome. Bye.
All right, there's Marianne. 9 black people in Medina. All right, well, there you go.
Well, even just the scope of there's third world countries inside of America.
Mhm.
Like you go to some of the I was talking about the how do you say it? Appalachian?
Appalachia. Yeah.
Appalachia. Bro, those people are friggin' poor, man. Those people are like you talking about, the woodsmen.
Mhm.
They're living off of nothing and drinking mountain water and killing
Mountain
goats
Dew.
and stuff. Like, and then there's places that are so rich. I don't know. It's just I don't know. They put it in perspective for me.
Alan, those other countries don't have to spend shrimp on defense because we do it for them. That is part of it.
Well, we
When it comes to NATO and things like that. I mean, but again, when they talk about, even for this country, when they talk about defense for the 21st century, it's basically a jobs program for defense contractors. That's why we spend so much money, because there are so many places around the country that employ people in those areas of defense contractors.
Okay.
So it's difficult for a guy to go out and go, we're going to cut that budget because you have, flesh and blood people working around the country. That
And
work
then you
for
also have giant corporations that go, hey, well, we need you to destabilize this area so we can get the oil over there. So,
Well, yeah, there's
you
that,
can
but,
do that a little
you
bit.
know,
you can just give it a little nudge.
You hear people complaining about like, well, why are we giving all this money to Ukraine? We're not handing a comically large check to Ukraine. That is money we're paying to defense companies with people who in the United States who work for them, so they make stuff that we send to Ukraine. So it's not like we're
It's a lot of stuff that's decommissioned.
Yes.
From our military that's being given over there.
There's no American working for a defense contractor complaining that we're sending money to Ukraine, because that's what keeps them employed.
Well, the military is another big factor of that, and I've gotten in arguments with people in my life where it's, I don't know if this is maybe my one pretty Republican point of view, where I'm like, you know what? If we're spending all this money on the military and we're that well protected, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yes, could it be used for other things? Sure. But I feel like everyone would change their tune pretty quickly if someone tried to pull an attack.
If we're protected properly. I mean,
That's what I mean.
cyber attacks are what people should be focusing on, but we're still making, I mean, we do, obviously we need planes and boats and things like that. But the ratio of those things really needs to be looked at. And it doesn't matter how many missiles you're sending overseas or how many planes and aircraft carriers that you're still building in North Carolina or Delaware if hackers are shutting down the water grids around the country. So,
But wouldn't that
they
be
gotta
part
keep
of the defense budget?
it is, but it's pretty minuscule compared to the other stuff.
So you're saying we spend more on nukes than we do on cybersecurity.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah, well, talk to
Then
the people. Talk to the people working for defense contractors.
My information's literally never been hacked. So
Yet,
take that, Alan.
well, the day is still young, and good. You don't want your stuff to get hacked. All right, I got a break. Want to get the last word in? Send me a text 351